Okay, so we're holding daf Yud Aleph Omid Beis. Yud Aleph Omid Beis. Cheers, little nishmas. My father, יא.ב-יב.ב, and Shlomo Yosef, and Kapas Mishkovai. Okay, we're holding in the middle of a machlokes of Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Elazar. When was the world created? Okay, when was the world created? Was it created Nisan? Was it created in Tishrei? And the machlokes also, as we had in the past, it spilled over to see when were the Avos born, according to the one that says that the world was created Tishrei. The Avos are born on Tishrei. Besides Yitzchak, according to the one that said that Nisan, the world was created, the Avos were all born in Tishrei. So the Gemarrah says like this over here. The Gemarrah ties this machlokes with another machlokes. And this is the famous machlokes where we first encounter the machlokes between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua about when the world was created, and that's by the marble of Noach. So v'azal tamayah. There's a dat in the Gemarrah in the Aleph on the base. A dat in the Gemarrah v'azal tamayah. So Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua go according to their machlokes that I have in another place, and based on that machlokes. Also here, they say this machlokes that one says the world was created Nisan, one said the world was created Tishrei. The Tani b'shnas sheish meyos l'shana l'chaye Noach, in the 600th year of Noach, b'chodesh hasheni. So to make it clear, even though this was 656 years, this was 1,656 years after the creation of the world, and it's called the 600. So they count. It was an interesting way they counted years. We don't know when Noach's birthday is exactly, but from the moment Tishrei passes on, or Nisan, depending for whose opinion, the year changes. So b'shas sheish meyos l'chaye Noach, it could be Noach was actually 599 years old, or it could be Noach was 600. Whatever, I don't know. I don't know when Noach's birthday is. I don't know if it was exactly when Noach was 600 years old. Noach was now 600 years old, but it's possible that Noach was 600 years and more than 2 months old. It could be 600 years and 5 months old. It was definitely past 600 years. But basically, you count the age of a person, that count of the year changes by the beginning of the year, not by the birthday. That's how it was back in those days. So when Noach was 600 years old, and it says b'chodesh the second month, lav dafka the second month of Noach's 601st year. It could be the count of second month is according to something else. Okay, this Tani b'shas shnas the Tani b'shnas sheish meyos shana l'chaye Noach, in the 600th year of Noach, b'chodesh hasheni, in the second month. It doesn't say what the second month that is. B'shiva asa yom l'chodesh, the 17th of that second month. That's when the marble started coming down. Right, that's the pasuk. Bayoim hazeh. The pasuk continues, on that day, nifku kol mayones lehem rabba. The depth, the fountains from the depths of the earth opened up. Varu b'shamayim niftachu, and the whatever held back water from Shamayim came down as well. So two things happened: something from the top, something from the bottom. The fact the fountains came up, and the fact the barriers were taken away. This happened on the second month. It doesn't say clearly what month of the year it is. At the 17th of that month. So Rabbi Yeshua Aimer Oisa Yoim Yud Zayin B'Iyar. That day was 17th of Iyar. Yoim, the day Shemazel Kimo Shekea Bayoim. The day that Mazel Kimo goes down into, it sets. Okay, so now in order to explain this, it's very simple. This is going Rambam Kiddush HaChodesh a little bit. The world, according to most shittas, is at the epicenter of the universe. Mamash at the center of the universe. This is a
silent sea, no?
Epicenter, thank you. Okay. The world is at the epicenter of the world. What? So the world is at the center. Let's just forget the center of the world. That definitely is a C pronounced. Okay, at the center of the world. There's according to Rambam, according to most shittas in Yiddishkeit.
Everything evolves and revolves around
Yes,
Earth.
everything goes around. So all the different koich velechas, all the different things go around the world. According to other opinions, according to the sages, according to not sages, the goyish chachamim, the sun is the center, and everything goes around there. So that's the difference between. In anyways, so the world is the earth. It's not the world. The earth is in the middle. and the sun goes around. Now the stars are much further than the sun, and they are actually stationary. They don't move. Okay, the truth is they also move, but they're so far, and even though they move miles, from our eyes, it's not visible. It's not considered moving, according to some opinions. Some people say they don't move at all. But in any case, so in the sky we have stars, and we have constellations. We have 12 constellations. So the sun, when it rises in the east over the world, so it shines a light in the entire east, and then the light goes over the world, right? It's not shining only one point. It shines an entire half of the world, and it moves. When the sun rises in the east, if you look from the earth, from anywhere in the earth, you will see the sun. If the astrologers will see the sun, they'll be able to tell in which the stars are behind, the sun is here, which constellation, which mazel appears over here. So every month that changes. Why does that? What happens is that the sun rises. So in Nisan it rises in mazel tole, mazel and the lamb tle. So it rises. It takes 2 hours to rise. So the sun rises. It continues going on. Mazel tole, the world, because the world turns also. So mazel tole goes up. And it takes about 2 hours for that constellation to fully appear on the horizon. Okay? That's in the morning. So the truth is, we don't see it because it's the morning, we're not going to see it. 6 constellations rise and set during the day. And rise and set during the day. 6 disappear. So Mazel Tov starts off in the skies, because this was night, you see 6 other constellations. As Mazel Tov goes up, the Mazel Maznayim, scales, disappears. Now, like this. As soon as the constellation is fully risen, 2 hours in, it's fully risen, from that moment and on, that constellation actually sets, because now it goes towards the end of the world, so it sets. So it's only 2 hours that you call a Mazel, that oile is going up. The moment it's finished, the oile is finished, 2 hours, it starts setting. So now it's like this. In Nisan you have Mazel Tole. At the tail of Tole, at the tail of the lamb, there is a cluster of stars, which is called Kima. And the name in English is something with a P, I can't pronounce it. If I can't pronounce Epic Center, I'm not able to pronounce that. Mazel Kima, it's Pleiades or something like that. Now here's where the Machekas is with the pseudoscience, which astrology is pseudoscience, and the Chachamim, they say that this Kima, Mazel Kima, the constellation of Kima, is at the tail of the lamb. Mashenken, the pseudoscientists say, the astrologers say, that Mazel Kima is at the horns or at the shoulders of the next Mazel, which is Shoyl. Because Nisan is lamb, Iyal is Shoyl. In any case, what happens is,
Are there any CH available for Rotterdam between Albany and Troy? Patient not feeling well.
someone else will take it. Okay. Anyway, so the mazel goes up, and it goes in 2 hours, and then it starts setting. Now in Iyal, as the sun rises, the mazel of lamb is starting to set because it's fully risen. By the time of sunrise, the Iyal, not Nisan. Nisan, the sun rises in the constellation of lamb. In Nisan, in Iyal, when the sun rises, the lamb is fully up there already. The next constellation is starting to come up, which is the shoyl, which is the bull, the ox. So at the very tail of the lamb, you have the last thing that's there is the kima. So in Iyal, as the mazel starts setting the moment the sun rises. Kima starts setting the moment the sun rises because it's fully up there, and the moment the sun rises, all the rest is considered setting, not the rising anymore. Zogt the Beshua, Oisim Yudzayin B'Iyah, Shemazel Kima, the mazel of Kima, Shoikeya Bayoim. It starts setting during the day. It starts setting because as soon as the sun rises in the east, and the constellation of Shoyr, of the ox, of the bull starts rising, Kimo is right before the bull, and that starts setting into going to west. Okay?
This is a system that Hashem set up that for 30 days you see that it's tle.
So
And
yeah,
then
so
30 days
you
later, sure
so
comes.
because the way the world is, the way the earth is centered, and also you have to remember that the sun does a 365. The sun circles the world 24 hours, right? In 24 hours, but it varies a little bit, and that's why in the summer, because the path varies a little bit, in the summer in certain places it gets warmer, and the opposite world it's colder, because the way the sun is shining, the way the axis of the world.
The moon also? The moon is, no, it's like the moon.
The moon mostly does a same circle, same cycle. Yeah, the sun changes the cycle. Also, the earth shifts a little bit, and we are in the summer. We are more in the direct path of the sun. We're not like on the side. We're in the direct path of the sun. Therefore, it's warmer by us in the summer, and when it's warmer by us, it's colder in the other side of the world. So
How come some places are warm the whole year?
because they are the equator, which basically they are directly on the sun constantly, which is basically where the sun continuously goes around. The sun goes around in one location. So when the sun shines, even though the sun fully lights up the entire half of a globe, but wherever the sun is more direct, it will be warmer. When the sun is here, it's much less a distance and more direct. When the sun is shining here, right? So the sun is shining directly, let's say, over Argentina, and the same time we're in almost in the same time zone. It's nice and warm in there, and in the north, in Canada, it's freezing cold. Why? Because Canada is much further in distance, and when it shifts during the summer, Argentina will become colder and Canada will warm up. That's the sun, but the sun goes a 24-hour circle and it shifts a little bit. The stars stay in the same way, but because the earth and the sun shift, so in Nisan the sun will rise in the constellation of the Lamb. In Iyar the sun will rise in the constellation of the bull.
But Kima is a constellation. Kima
Is a minor constellation. It's by the tail. According to Rashi, he says that Kima is by the tail. The last three lines of Rashi on this page of Kima, whose nav tole, it's at the tail of the lamb. Okay, it's at the tail of the lamb. According to astrology, this Kima appears closer to the ox, to the bull, than to the tail, and
than to the
lamb.
The lamb and the bull, and this is in the middle.
Yeah, if you look at the astrology, if you look at the picture, if you go Google online and look at the name Kimo, if you Google Kimo in Hebrew, it will tell you the. So if you look at the picture, you'll see the lamb, and then you'll see space, and you'll see the bull, and you see at the horns of the bull. That's where Kimo appears, and it's a cluster of many stars. Pleiades. Okay, so that's basically. That's again, the stars are stationary. The sun rises and sets it goes around, but it shifts a little bit. So every month the sun is going to set against a different backdrop. In Nisan the backdrop is going to be the mazel of lamb, and in Iyar the mazel. So now at the edge between the lamb and the ox is a skima. Now, Mazel Kimo starts setting as soon as the sun goes up. So the Yeshua says, which month? The month that Mazel Kimo Shoikea B'Yoyim starts setting as soon as the day comes in. And then what happens in Iyar? Mayonis, it's warmer, it's springtime, the world is getting drier. Mayonis mismatim, and the fountains in the depths are actually depleting. And now the Eibishter made a miracle. Because the population at the time of the Mabul changed their ways, they cohabited with animals and with other things. And because of that, Shina Kadosh Baruch. Oh, my car's not working. No, that's real. My car's not working. And okay, because they changed their ways, the Eibishter changed also Maaseh B'Deishis, switched around Maaseh B'Deishis, and what did he do? Vehela Mazel Kil B'Yoyim. he switched the mazel kimo that used to be by the tail of the lamb. He now put it at the horn of the ox. Now, the Gemarrah doesn't say it clearly, but I think today astrology goes according to after the mabel, because today in astrology, if you open up the stars, you will see that it's talking where the Gemarrah it says it is that it started coming up with the ox. So now it's rising, it's not setting. And now the hell mazel kimo yom. Now, as soon as the sun rises, mazel kimo rises as well. So it changed. And what did he do with mazel kimo? Mazel kimo was a cluster of many, many stars. V'notal shnei kachav mikimo. He took 2 stars from kimo, and through those 2 stars, he opened up a hole. And through those 2 stars, and brought mabul to the world. So that's what it says. That the pasuk says 2 things. V'arubas hashemayim niftachu. Arubas is a plural. 2 things in the shemayim opened up. These are the 2 stars from kimo that the Eibishter took. And Mayonas Teim Abba was also a miracle that the Eibishter, that the fountains in the ground were depleted because it's a springtime, and the Eibishter changed it around because the population at the time changed their natural way of living. The Eibishter changed nature for them and punished them. And in Bechal it says the Mazel Kima, this constellation of Kima is the constellation that holds back from the world being burned in the heat. The Eibishter put it somewhere. If not that Mazel Kimo, the whole world will burn. So what the Eibishter did was the Eibishter, if you remove 2 things, so the Gemarrah later is going to say that he heated up the world. That's what the blatt actually. I'm mixing up. You'll see it in a moment. Okay. Anyway, so basically, the sun goes up. It's in Mazel Kimo started to set. The Eibishter changed. The Mazel Kimo is now rising together with the bull, with the ox. And from Mazel Kimo, the Eibishter took 2 stars, and through those 2 stars, that's where all the rain came from. That's Rabbi Shua, and that's why Rabbi Shua says Chodesh Hasheni is Chodesh Iyar. Now it's not Iyar, it's Macheshvan. Tishrei, it's scales, Maznaim, and Cheshvan is, I believe, Aklov is a scorpion. Yeah, Cheshvan is Aklov. So, what happens is, now that it's the opposite, so the last 2 hours of the night is when Mazel Kimo is with Mazel Kimo and the lamb is in the sky. In Tishrei, you actually could see you could see Mazel Kimo and you can see the lamb at the westernmost hemisphere, because the sun is setting. And the last 2 hours of the night, the sun is rising. The last 2 hours of the night, you will see Mazel Kimo. So Tishrei, it's the opposite. So the lamb is here. Mazel Kimo is at the head of the lamb, and it's starting to set. It's starting to fully disappear. So he says, what happens is, Yud Zayin Mecheshvan Shemazel Kimo Oile Bayoim. One second. I'm looking at this. Mazel Kimo is the only mazel. Mazel Kimo is basically, because Mazel Kimo is the mazel that is at the tail of the lamb. It is the only mazel that will start setting. It's the first mazel that sets during the daytime, because so the world is round. The constellation of Tle is over here. During the month of Macheshvan, the Tle is already. The month of Macheshvan, the mazel of lamb is fully off the world already. The last thing that's there is the mazel kima. It's at the tail.
No one's arguing that Kima is at the tail of
it's
lamb,
either
and it's the beginning close to the bull.
Yeah,
Taurus.
yeah.
No one's arguing.
No,
that.
exactly.
The only question is where in the cycle it is.
If it's Tishrei, if it's Cheshvan, Mazel Kimo is already at the edge, all the way at the edge. Now, when the day goes up, the first thing that sets, the first thing that goes away is Kimo. And that's what it says. It's a interesting way. It says Oila, but basically Mazel Kimo Oh, I know why it says oil. I looked it up because the moment it disappears from the world, it's considered coming back up.
Just
So,
like when it sets, it's
yeah,
considered-
as soon as the sun rises, in the east, Mazel Kima starts rising because now it's going through that cycle. It's going to take a couple of hours, but the sun is rising. So, and when is that rising? When the day is here. So that's why yə.ב.-יב.ב says, the Eibishter did the same thing. It's cheshvan time, so naturally there's a lot of water in the ground. It's wet season. Because the Eibishter, they changed their ways. The Eibishter had to also change the nature. The Gemarrah is going to ask in a moment, what nature did the Eibishter have to change? If the world is wet, the grounds are wet, it's raining season anyways, what did Eibishter change? And what did Eibishter do with Mazel Kima?
According to the Eliezer.
Eliezer, yeah?
He had to pull the pekak.
1 second. Oh, he now changed, and he did the same thing. Mazel Kimo is setting by day. And he took two stars from the constellation of Kimo. Okay. The Gemarrah, before it goes into discussing what exactly it changed, according to the Shiur, it says Sheni because we're talking about the second month of the year. The first month is Nisan, the second month is Il. According to that's what Shiur says. And that's happening in Il. According to yə.ב.-yb.ב, the second month is usually Il. What am I Sheni? And for the Gemarrah, Sheni Ladin, that's the second month of the Yom Adin, or the second month when the world was judged to be destroyed. So that's Tishrei, the world was judged to be destroyed, and the second month of the judgment, that's what's called Sheni. Then, yeah. Bishlam yə.ב.-Shua, Haina the Shina. According to yə.ב.-Shua, we understand what he changed. He changed simply that instead of Mazel Kimo setting, he kept it there, and he made it now, took 2 stars. El yə.ב.-yb my Shina, and for the Gemarrah of Chizda, according to Chizda, Beroischen Kilkulu. What was the Aveda? The Aveda is when you cohabit it with the animals, it heats up the body and it lets out semen. So the same thing also. The Eibishter heated up the world, and how did Eibishter heat up the world? By removing 2 stars from Mazel Kima. Like I said before, Mazel Kima withholds the heat of the world. Without Kima, the world would be burned. The Eibishter just had to remove 2 stars from Kima, and with that, he heated up the water. It became very hot water. As you know, the water by the Mabul was very hot. How do we know the water was very hot? It says by the ending of the Mabul, it says that the water calmed down. Calmed down from what? It says by Esther, it says that the anger of the king settled. And when a person is angry, he's heated up. So the heat settled. So from here we see that Shachacha, Vayishoiku means calming down the water. The heat is calming down. So we must say that what did the water calm down from? From heat. So now we know the water was hot. How did the water get heated? Through the 2 stars that Eibishter removed from Mazel Kima. Okay. Tana Abanan, to finish off this thing, Chachma Yisrael Moin Lemabul K'Rab L'Tkufa K'Rabashua. The Yidden, when they want to go through the chronological order of the Mabul, they go according to yə.ב.-yb, which means the Mabul happened in Zayin Macheshvan. And that the Eibishter heated up the water. But anything else, we go according to the yə.ב.-Shua. The difference would be, now we're going to start again in the Rambam. We're going to go into Kiddush HaChodesh soon. The difference is going to be when do you start counting the Tkufas, the seasons, when do you start counting the Moilad. It depends if the Moilad is in Nisan, the Moilad is in Tishrei. So if we go according to the yə.ב.-Shua, so we can start making the Cheshbonis, calculating the Moilad according to the first Nisan. And the Rambam is going to bring down a date that the first Nisan was, the first Moilad was XYZ, and the Tkufa starts as a... Okay. Zak di Gemarrah weiter. So that's the end of this Gemarrah. Oh, sorry. V'chachmei ha'umas ha'olam, and the Chacham of Mazal moinen es af lamabel k'Yeshua. They only agree with Yeshua. They said the world was actually created in Nisan. The Mabul was in Nisan. Everything is Nisan, and that's it. And they go according to the Yeshua. And accordingly, also, according to the yə.b.-yb, the Eibishter didn't have to move the Mazel Kima around. He didn't move Mazel Kima. It stayed in its place because Mazel Kima was there during the day. And what was so important to move the Mazel Kima that it should be by day? It should start going up. That it should be there by day, because it says clearly that the Mabul started by day. It says yə.ב.-etzem hayoyim hazeh bo noach v'ishta l'teivam pnei haMabul. It was during the day, so it had to be that the Kima had to be present. So by according to Rabbi Eliezer, the Eibishter had to change Ma'aseh Bereshis. and move kima around. According to Beshua, to move. Not. So the Goyim, the Chacham Musayim, the Goyim said everything is going to according to Rabbi Yeshua, which means the Eibishter had to physically move kima around. Today in astrology, if you look into the stars, you find kima, taka word that the Gemarrah says it is. Kima came up later.
Kima came up
with the bull.
With the Tala and the bull, yeah.
Right? So before it was attached, according to Rashi, it was attached to the lamb, but after the Mabul, it was attached to the bull. That's the whole thing, that Shina Maseches, the Eibishter moved the entire constellation over so that the Kima should be present during the day.
So during the Mabul, there was no day and night.
That was once the Mabul
There was no day and night. It started, yeah.
As if the world was frozen.
Right, so it could be that everything stayed. But what I'm saying is that before the Mabul, the constellation of Kima was in one place, like Rashi says, it was at the tail of the Tle, and the Mabul changed, that it moved over to the horns or the head or the shoulders of the bull. And if you look at astrology today, what?
It was right in the eye of the bull.
Yeah, so if you look at astrology today, that's where it is. That's where the constellation Pleiades is to be found. So the Chachma U'Sa'olam, the Gemarrah says, the Moinen Af Lamabel Beshua to also this helps them. If today they say I have to go according to the Beshua Shita, which means the Eibush had to move Kima into the place where you find it today. So I'm saying it's not stam they say. They say it because it makes sense according to their astrology. They have to say it this way because if you look at the stars now, you will find Pleiades, Kima, in a different place than the Rashi says it is. Okay. So a little bit of astrology. Let's go back. It's pseudoscience, yes. I looked it up to see if it's science or pseudoscience. It's pseudoscience. Okay. Because it's not it's not clear fact.
It's all based on Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's all based on
the name is based on Greek mythology and whatever.
Talked about the yə.ב.-ב before. Like the stars. Pick a star, name it after you. A day after the World War II, they opened up a map, rolled up a map of Poland, Hungary and Romania, threw a needle. Wherever it landed, it became yə.ב..
That's when they went on shlichus in the early days. Took a dart, boom.
No, but then they picked the bigger cities. Today it's mamish throwing a dart. Okay. It says in the Mishnah, in the very first Mishnah, we're wrapping up this Mishnah already, discussing so many different things. The last thing that יא.ב.Tisha is a Shoshana for Yedakas. What does that mean? That basically Yedakas is vegetables. Vegetables grow. When do you know which vegetables are called from this year? And the vegetables are called from the previous year. So Rosh Hashana is the cutoff. The question is,
Rosh Hashana Aleph Tishrei, not yesterday.
Aleph Tishrei. Yeah, it's not the lonis. Lonis, there's not a trees.
What's the ramifications for vegetables?
We'll see in a second. That's Gemarrah is going to discuss. A, what's the ramifications, and B, what constitutes that now this vegetable has grown, in order to count it either for the new year or count it as it has grown in the old year. So the Gemarrah Tana it says in the Braisa, Liyadakos, not the Mishnah. In the Braisa it says that the Rosh Aleph Tishrei is Rosh Hashana for Yedakas, Rosh Hashana for Maaseh, Rosh Hashana for Nedarim. So the Gemarrah Yedakas Ma'aninum, what's for Yedakas? And the Taich here is going to apply the Mishnah as well. That goes in the Maaseh Yedak. There's a halacha that you have to give Maaseh from vegetables as well. Now, Mina Torah, there are 3 vegetables you have to give Maaseh. The Rashi says, what's it called? Which says it here? No, that doesn't say this. What's it called? There's I forgot where it is, but there's 3 vegetables, olives. What are 3 vegetables that Mina Torah you have to give Maaseh? All the rest of the vegetables, or some of the rest of the vegetables, is the Rabbanu, not in the Raisa. So when it says Yedakas, it means what is Hoshana Yedakas from Maaseh, which basically means that if a vegetable grew in the previous year, you cannot use it to give Maaseh for the new vegetables that are grown next year, and vice versa. You have a whole field of vegetables. Some of it grew the previous year. Some of it started growing after the Shoshana. So you cannot mix them and say, okay, I'm going to give Maisa, mix a whole one. This is this year, this is that year. Each one is going to need its own Maisa. The ox my new Maisa, yeah. For the Gemarrah, the Maisa says the second word. The Maisa says Ula Maisas. That means Maisa. No, Tana the Rabbanon, the Tana the Raisa. We learned the Yerokis is the Maisa of the Rabbanon, and when the Maisa says Ula Maisas, it talks about the Maisa of the Raisa. For the Gemarrah to say the opposite. We listen to the Raisa Bereisha, and maybe say Maisless, and then say the word Yerokis. So like this, you will be teaching that the halachas of giving Maisel for Yedakis Midaraisa before he teaches the halachas of giving Maisel for the vegetables Midarabon. And for the Gemarrah, either the Chavivile Akadmei. We have a klal, Chavivin Olai Divrei Soifrim, that the words of the Chacham are more chav, are more precious to us than Torah itself, because they added the sasiag. So the mother goes in the same way, because the words of the Chacham are more precious, because we are accepting upon ourselves more stringencies. Therefore, mentioned in the first. Fedi Gemarrah in our Mishnah. Go back to our Mishnah. And our Tana doesn't say Maislas separately. It just says Irakas. Why doesn't he say anything? And Fedi Gemarrah Tana Didan Tana the Rabbanon the Cholshkan the Raisa. He says the word Irakas to imply that you have to give Maiser for the vegetables with the Rabbanon. And if for sure you have to give Maiser for vegetables, you don't have to mention the Cholshkan the Raisa. Fedi Gemarrah, listen. Now going back to the question on the Baraisa, it says Maisrois. If we're talking only about Maiser of vegetables, why does it say Maisrois? If we listen to Maiser, it means both. It talks about, when it says Maiser, it talks about the tithing of the animals and the tithing of the vegetables.
So Yerokis doesn't just mean Yerokis; it means behemoths also.
No, when it says Maisless, it means Maiser Behema, Maiser Dogon. When it says Yerokis, it talks about the Rabbanon. When it says Maisless, it talks the Raisa, and the Raisa means tithing of the animals, the tithing of the fruits and vegetables. Again, if we're talking about vegetables, say that it's leyerek, not the Yerokis. Say the word yerek, because a vegetable is a yerek. Why is it saying the plural term of vegetables? It means it's different types of vegetables. Everything about listen to yerek. Why does it say Yerokis plural? Everything about trai gavneres. There's two types of yerek. The Tanan we learned in the Mishnah. Yerd, the vegetable. When does a vegetable become? When does a vegetable have the chiyuv that now you have to give ma'aser? Not when it grows full in the field, but the moment you cut it. The moment you cut it and gather it, that's when you chayev. So some vegetables you make a bundle. Hanegad, hanegad mishiyegad. Some vegetables you just make a bundle. As soon as you bundle it, that moment it's chayev in tithing and giving ma'aser. The vegetables like apples and other things that you don't bind them, you don't tie them with a string. As soon as you fill up a pot, fill up a whatever one of these big vessels, the moment it fills up, that's when it's chayev ma'aser. So ma'aser of vegetables is not when it grows, not when you seed in the field like many other things, but when you cut it, when you harvest. If someone gathered vegetables Erev Rosh Hashana, the sun did not set yet, so it's Erev Rosh Hashana, and the sun didn't set. And he went back and he collected vegetables. He cut off vegetables. Mishetave Hashemesh. The sun set already. It's Hashana. So how can a Yid cut vegetables Hashana? Says Tosis on the smart. We're talking about the Nachri. The Mechanal says the same thing. That they're talking about a guy. That a guy.
Doing it for you.
Huh?
Doing it for you.
Yeah. So now you have two vegetables. You have vegetables from the old, vegetables new. Again, vegetables, you don't even look at a field and say, oh, the field is here. So how do you decide what's last year's, what's this year's? You don't go by when it grows. You go by when you cut it. If you cut it before Rosh Hashana, it belongs to the old year. Even if it grew from the same crop, from the same season, if you cut it after Rosh Hashana, it's counted for the next year. So now you have vegetables you cut right before Rosh Hashana, moments before Rosh Hashana comes in, and you have vegetables that were cut right after Rosh Hashana. And so the Gemara ain't telling Maseches you cannot do tumas and ma'aser from one or the other. You cannot take tumas and ma'aser from new fruits or old fruits or new fruits. Now it says a halacha. This is separately. If nichneses l'shlishis. If the previous year was the second year from the cycle of Shemitah, the first year the cycle of Shemitah and the second year cycle of Shemitah, you have to give Ma'aser Rishon and Ma'aser Sheni. And in the third year, you have to give Ma'aser Ani. What? Yeah, Ma'aser Rishon, Ma'aser Ani. So the first year, give Ma'aser Rishon and Sheni. Second year, give Ma'aser Rishon and Sheni. Rishon goes to the Shalayim, it goes to the Kahanim, goes to the Levim, the Kahanim. And Ma'aser Sheni goes to the owner, but he has to eat in the Shalayim. It's holy, it's Kodesh. Ma'aser Ani has no Kedusha. You give it to the poor person, there's no Kedusha, doesn't have to be eaten in the Shalayim, nothing. So now, if the year of Shana switched over from year 2 to year 3, so Shnia, if it's the fruits that were cut in the second year, you have to give what? Ma'aser Rishon and Ma'aser Sheni. The fruits that were cut in Shlishis in the third year, Ma'aser Rishon and Ma'aser Ani. How do we know that when it comes during the third year, you only have to give Ma'aser Ani, you don't have to give Ma'aser Sheni as well? We know in the middle, Amar Shimon Levi, Kisachal, it says in Pasuk, Kisachal le'ases kol ma'aser tvuos b'shana shlishis. You finish giving all the ma'aser of your crop in the third year. What does the Pasuk continue and say? It says Shnas HaMaiser. It's the year of Maiser. It doesn't say Shnas HaMaiserois. It's not the year of 2 Maisers, of Maiser Rishon and Maiser Sheni. He calls it a year of 1 Maiser. Which Maiser stays a holy Maiser in the third year? That's Maiser Rishon. Maiser Ani is not holy. Shana she'ein ve'ela Maiser Echad. It's talking about a year. There's only 1 Maiser. Hoketzad Maiser Rishon and Maiser Ani, or Maiser Sheni Yevato. During the third year, you give Ma'aser Rishon, you give Ma'aser Ani, and the Ma'aser Sheni, which the other holy Ma'aser, is bottled. If I think about, maybe it's not like this. Maybe Ma'aser Rishon. Maybe when it says Kesachala Asar, and it says Shnasa Ma'aser, we're talking about Shnasa Ma'aser, Ma'aser Ani. You don't have to give not Ma'aser Rishon and not Ma'aser Sheni. If I think about Ma'aser Rishon, I'm bottled. Tamad Loimar, it says in Pasuk, Ve'el Levim Tedabel Ve'omar Aleim. Talk to the Levim and tell them. When you take the Meiser from the Yidden, in the land that you live, the Pasuk said the word Meiser with the word Nachala, inheritance of a land. The Yidden inherited the land, and it was divided according to Levim. The Levim they stayed on their land, on their designated land forever. It couldn't switch it out. Just like Nachla was forever, the same thing also Ma'aser stays. Ma'aser Rishon is forever. Ma Nachla in the Hefsek, Ma'aser Rishon in the Hefsek. Tani Idoch,
which means what?
Every year singly have to give Ma'aser Rishon. And when it says Shnas HaMa'aser, only 1 Ma'aser, it refers to Ma'aser Rishon, but not Ma'aser Sheni. And Ma'aser Ani, even though it's called Ma'aser Ani, but it's not holy. So Shnas HaMa'aser, when it says the year of when you give 1 Ma'aser, which is the third year, we're talking about Ma'aser Rishon. That's the Ma'aser you give. Ma'aser Ani you don't give. Then the Tani Idach basically repeats the same thing with 2 different opinions. Tani Idach,
in the 6th year also, no? Isn't it 4 and 5 is again Rishon and Sheni? And then...
Right. Zautig mal weiter. Tani Idach, learned in Ablaisa, we come to the same conclusion that you have to give Ma'aser Rishon every year, and it's just the first 2 years you give Ma'aser Sheni, and the third year you give, third and 6th you give Ma'aser Ani. It says in Pasuk, Esachala Asa. Esachala Asa, and the Pasuk continues, it's called Ma'aser Tvotzcha. You finish, you clean out your house from all the Ma'ases, yeah? It's talking about the third year. Shon, it says Shnas HaMa'aser. Shon, She'en Bel Ma'aser Echad. Hoketzad. Ma'aser Rishon, Ma'aser Ani, Ma'aser Sheni, Vatl. You give Ma'aser Rishon, Ma'aser Ani, and Ma'aser Rishon is called the Shnas HaMa'aser, and Ma'aser Sheni is not there. Yochel of Ma'aser Rishon, Al Vatl, should also take away Ma'aser Rishon. Tamad Loimar, a different pasuk. Or Bo HaLevi. When the Levi comes, that he should give Ma'aser Rishon. It doesn't say which year. Calls man Shabo, whenever the Levi, whichever year the Levi shows up to take Ma'aser Rishon from you, 10 lo you have to give him. Divrei Eb-Yehuda. So he learns from a different pasuk. You don't have to come to that pasuk. It says in the pasuk like we just learned. Elavim tadav v'mat aleim kisikchem b'nei Yisrael es ha'ma'aser asher nisat lechem me'itam v'nachlaschem. Again, it says ma'aser with the nachla in the same pasuk. Kisha kosav the nachla manachla in the hefsek. A ma'aser rishon of the hefsek. Ma'aser and nachla is something that stays forever. It doesn't have a hefsek. Okay, that is this Gemarrah. Now we're going to start a new Gemarrah. It's connected a little bit to the previous Gemarrah, but it's a new thing. It says in the blatt that we learned Ulan Adalim that Rosh Hashana. So we covered the question: what's the difference that Aleph Tishrei is a Shana for Yelakas for Ma'aser? So basically, the point is for Ma'asers, and the reason we need a cutoff date is because you can't give Ma'aser from the old fruit on the new fruit, or the new fruit on the old fruit.
When it's harvested.
When it's harvested, yeah. Now the blatt says also that Rosh Hashana is the cutoff date for Nadalim. So first of all, it doesn't bring in anywhere psukim. The psukim bring a whole ma'aser with Nadalim about stopping whenever you're not mekayim the Nadalim. That's what we learn about Yontif. But there's no clear pasuk that Rosh Hashana is that there is a date that the Nadalim get cut off. So the Gemarrah has to understand what is the blatt talking about. Tana Rabbanim. It says in the blatt that Aleph Tishrei is the Rosh Hashana for Nadalim. Tana Rabbanim. If someone says, I will not have hana from a friend, leshana, if I say the word, not going to have hana from this friend, any pleasure, any profit from this friend, leshana for a year, he has to count 12 months, day by day. So it doesn't make a difference where he's standing in the year, you're going to count 353 days, because the 54th day is the next year already. If he says for this year, even if he stands only on the 29th day in Elul, that's why it's important to know when is the cutoff date of Nadalim. If I say if I say not going to enjoy anything from you this year, this Neder only stays until Rosh Hashana. No, it's not in Kibbutz Hashanah.
The whole thing called Nidre is all about Nidre.
Right. Some people actually make Adonasdam also. First of all, Adonasdam we make on Rosh Hashanah, not on Yom Kippur. But some people actually make it also on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur. Basically, there's no pasuk that tells us that Rosh Hashanah is the cutoff date for Nadalim for this. If you say Lashana Zu, so why did Acham decide that it's Rosh Hashanah? For the Gemarrah, one second. We had this machlokes whether a day is counted for a year as a year or not. Even according to the opinion, a day is not counted for a year. When a guy stands on the last day of the year and it says, I'm making a neder for this year, it's still counted as a year. So that's a problem with the guy that says 1 year is not counted. So that doesn't make a difference, because the whole point here is not seeing if 1 day is enough. The whole point is the guy wanted to pain himself, to afflict himself some kind of displeasure from his friend, and that he did, even for 1 day. The reason he made the neder because he wanted to abstain from a pleasure. For the Gemarrah, a simple question: why did Chacham decide that the Rosh Hashanah is the cutoff date? Why not Nisan? And for the Gemarrah, when it comes to Nadalim, you have to go according to the usual language that people speak. When I say this year or next year, I have in mind that the Rosh Hashanah is the cutoff date. The Ran adds an interesting gevalt over here, and it says, why talk about Nadalim? You have to go according to Lashon Bnei Adam. Because the whole Nadalim is about speech, and I forgot the pasuk. They mentioned that the pasuk in the Torah that speaks about Nadalim mentions speech, and I'm going to remember in a second what the pasuk is, but that's what the Nadalim mentions. Anyways, we'll stop here, and we'll continue next week in Yisra Hashem.